Hello and welcome back to the RDA, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing well, because I certainly am after this week. We're going to be talking a bit about the Jadon Sancho situation, a lot of German reports and noise surrounding him in the media, as well as he's, I don't know if I can really call it a resurgence of form. So yeah, let's talk about him and whether or not Manchester United are still in for him, and more importantly, whether or not I would still sign Jadon Sancho. Very, very important that we talk about this after the shambles of a transfer window we had, because we've got to look towards the summer. We've got to look towards the future with this Manchester United team, and we've got to try find some sort of positive in the direction that we are going in, despite our owners. So if I'm looking at this Manchester United team at the moment, first of all, just before we get to Sancho, if I'm looking at this Manchester United team at the moment, and I'm looking at some of our regular starters, so Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba at the moment because he's playing well, but McFred, you could throw them in there as well. Mason Greenwood, obviously, because he's a very talented youngster. Cavani, Martial, the usual starters, the usual suspects. Even if you want to go across our back line, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw. I said this on the group the other day, and it almost came, I wouldn't say came back to bite me, because I don't mind being proven wrong. I couldn't give a rat's ass about being right when Manchester United are proving me wrong and doing well, you know. I said on the WhatsApp group with the rest of the other RDA guys, and even on Twitter the other day, that we do not create enough chances from the wings with our wingers. And when I said wingers, I meant our two attacking wingers in particular. And furthermore, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw are not the most comfortable fullbacks going forward. Now, obviously, there's evidence to the contraire this season, because Luke Shaw has created the second or third most chances amongst left backs this season. I'm pretty sure it might be second, actually, behind Andy Robertson, which is absolutely phenomenal for a player who was always criticized for his attacking capabilities. Seems like the narrative changed with Luke Shaw. All of a sudden he can't defend, and all of a sudden he's a good attacking fullback. All of a sudden, you know, people who are criticizing him. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. That's neither here nor there, right? So Luke Shaw has definitely improved, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka, there's still massive question marks surrounding him. And yes, you might say he's created more assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's done well in terms of goals and assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold. But any football fan, not just a football hippie, not just a Bielsa sexual who loves triangles, will tell you that goals and assists don't mean anything. You know, I love this from United fans. When Aaron Wan-Bissaka has more goals and assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's about goals and assists. But when Paul Pogba doesn't have more goals and assists than Kevin De Bruyne, suddenly stats don't mean that much. You know, like, it's hilarious. All these Manchester United fans were like, oh, stats don't mean anything. De Bruyne, just because De Bruyne has more goals and assists, it doesn't mean he's better. Now, all of a sudden, because De Bruyne is not scoring, now, out of the clear blue fucking sky, brothers, stats mean everything. Brothers, let's compare Bruno and De Bruyne. Let's compare Pogba and De Bruyne, even if they don't play in the same position. Anyways, I digress. My point is, goals and assists don't prove anything. Dan James has more goals and assists than Mason Greenwood. You know, it's a great stat to have, and it shows that you're putting in output. But the eye test is what matters in how much of an impact you're having on your team. Just because you're scoring a lot and you're assisting a lot doesn't mean your overall output and your productivity is helping the team and their system. Remember when Zlatan had that 20-goal season at Manchester United, and there was a massive debate about whether or not Zlatan's actually good for the team because he actually slows us down. And although he has the most goals in the team, overall we're not performing that well because of the lack of pace on the attack. Whereas when Martial had 20 goals per season, 20 goals in a season as a striker, Rashford also had 20 goals as a left winger. Greenwood also had 18 goals as a right winger. So, or 16 goals in all competitions, something crazy like that. They had nearly 60 goals between the three of them in all competitions. So, like, you know, there's context to these stats. And I've always said about Manchester United, you know, I had a Spurs fan last year telling me, you know, Manchester United create a lot of chances and actually are one of the teams that create the most chances in the league. And I was like, yeah, but clearly you don't actually watch Manchester United, because we don't create that much chances for our number 9. You can see it with Edinson Cavani this season. The amount of times Rashford has had a pass through to Edinson Cavani and hasn't passed it this season. Like the amount of times Greenwood has had a pass and he hasn't passed it this season. He's decided to go for a shot. We don't create that many chances for our number 9. It's all right saying we create a lot of chances, but we don't create a lot for our number 9. And when Luke Shaw does cross the ball in, and when Aaron Wan-Bissaka does cross the ball in, usually Martial is not in the right position to take it, and neither is Edinson Cavani. The amount of times Luke Shaw could have had an assist last season is ridiculous, but there was no one on the end of the cross who could put it away. Anyways, I digress. How does Jadon Sancho fit into this? Well, I think that Jadon Sancho could still be a key player for Manchester United. There's reports coming out from German outlets that his price is going to be lowered this season, significantly lowered this season, or this upcoming summer, which for one, to me, is an admission of guilt by Dortmund and an admission that they have not handled the situation particularly well. But more importantly, it's an admission that there is a decline in the player and his value has obviously dropped, not just because of COVID, but because of his performances. Now, statistically, I think this season, I've got it on the PC right behind me, I think he's only got 3 goals and 7 assists. Someone can correct me in the comments down below, but that is nowhere near as great as it was in the past few seasons of Jadon Sancho, the Jadon Sancho that we know. Now, I'm not hyperbolic. I don't think a player is crap just because he has one bad season. I'm not like that. I tend to judge a player over his entire career, his or hers entire career. And with Jadon Sancho, I think there's a phenomenal talent there. I think the amount of crosses he puts into the box automatically makes him a perfect right winger for Manchester United, simply because we do not have wingers who are capable of doing that, especially on the right-hand side. I think going forward, Luke Shaw has got that left side on lockdown, but I can't say the same about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is improving, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is getting better, but I still think Aaron Wan-Bissaka looks incredibly robotic, and to compare him to Trent Alexander-Arnold for me is a bit shallow, because Trent Alexander-Arnold is crap. So what's your point? He's crap this season. So what's your point? Are you comparing piss and shit? Or do you want to actually compare shit and something that's actually good? Because if you're comparing it with something that's actually good and you realize that, oh, it's actually not shit, it's actually quite good, then yeah, I'm with you. If you want to compare Aaron Wan-Bissaka to a good right back who is balanced, who is not a cross merchant, then please, by all means, do it. But don't compare him to that man at the Trent, fam. He's struggling this season, fam. No disrespect to Trent, but he's struggling this season. Anyways, that's just my opinion on it. I think Jadon Sancho could still be a useful player for us. I don't think the Traore argument needs to be entertained this season. Traore hasn't scored a goal in nearly 13 months in the Premier League. I don't want to hear Manchester United fans tell us that Traore should come to Old Trafford. I told you this guy would be a risk, and I told you that all these stats that people throw out, oh, he's got so many assists, he dribbles past so many people. Yeah, but is it sustainable, and can he do it in a big team? We've all had these conversations about Zaha. Is Zaha at his level, or does Zaha have the potential to be at a top 4 club? He was at Manchester United and he didn't seize the opportunity. And whatever reasons he had for not seizing the opportunity, he failed at Manchester United, So just because you're good at Wolves, just because you're good at Crystal Palace, doesn't mean you're going to be automatically great at a top 4 club, in my humble opinion. Anyways, this video has dragged on too long. Let me know what you think of Jadon Sancho in the comments down below, or who you would sign for Manchester United first off, besides a centre-back. We all know we need a centre-back. In terms of attacking players, who would you sign this summer? Let me know.